Bev Watkinson, a successful social scientist and has worked in many jobs in Australia, finally capping off a long and distinguished career as the Centre Care Brisbane, Queensland, Australia Director. On retiring, she volunteered in East Timor, China, New York, and finally is here now at Ruben Centre, Kenya. On the verge of a new chapter in her life, she is my guest today. Welcome to Ruben Talk.
Thank you, everyone. I'm very glad to be here.
Bev, you arrived on the 20th of April,
That's right.
2016. Is there anything that you have a memory of that first day or the first few days?
Okay, I definitely have it of the second day. Heather had picked me up and from the airport, and then Frank the next morning brought me in, and I can remember driving down, and there were these sounds everywhere, different sounds, different smells, and people all in these beautiful bright colours, and I just thought, I'm home, and I've felt that way ever since.
Thank you. It's a great start. Your first job was in the HDST project. Did you look around on that morning in the dirty, small, confusing place that HDST is, and the broken machines and the people looking at you, and did you wonder, what am I really doing here? Is there a job for me?
No, because I was surrounded by about 3 or 4 people who just seemed to encompass everything that they were trying to achieve and everything they wanted to portray to me in those couple of minutes and half an hour of just saying, we want you here, we need you here, we'd love you to be here, and what more could anyone ask? That was how it was.
So half an hour and you're feeling at home.
I was.
So you worked in the HDST for 7 or 8
Yep.
months. Then the director turned up one day and he said, I want you out of here.
Over a glass of wine, I might add.
And I have a new position for you, a new job. Did you feel you had achieved your job in the HDST? And really, if you have, what's your legacy there, Bev?
No, I didn't feel I had done very much at all. But I knew that there was staff, especially Elizabeth, who would just encompass everything we tried to do in that 6 months. She would make it happen, and she has.
You, Bev, the highly rated Centre Care Director, moved into the Public Relations Office here, and you had a job there to do as Development Director. There had been no job in that before. It was a whole new role. So you had nowhere to look back and say what had been done. So you came in and you had to look at the admin of Ruben and say, I'm going to be the Centre Development Director. How bad did it look, the admin?
It didn't look bad at all. It just was different, I suppose, in the fact that everything was there, but it probably didn't have my visual systems that I saw and had always worked with in the past. As somebody who's been in research for a long time, we always know that we've got to have a very clear basis to start our questioning on. We've got to have a clear understanding of who is asking the question and why it's being asked. And so therefore, everything was there. You could see all of the avenues were built around the strategic plan. All the knowledge was there. Liz was a fountain of knowledge. She understood everything that she was aiming and looking for. And Margie had been put into the new PR role, and she also knew what she saw in her work plans and her ability to see into the future of what advocacy could be. for the people, the Ruben Centre beneficiaries.
So you were going to pull us up by the socks and bring a bit of professionalism to Ruben.
Well, I don't know if it was professionalism. I think it was more about saying that if we did have systems, things were going to be able to work a lot easier, and you could make your own visions if you had systems in place in the beginning. And I have to say, there's not one single one of you that I can't say this statement about. I have never worked with anyone in the world, even Australia, where if you give one of you an idea, a way to run with something, every one of you have done that. You just go off on your own abilities and create probably a whole new parameter for what we've envisaged in the first place. And I'm sure every one of you can see that happening in the school, you can see it happening in the clinic, in the maternity unit, in the new employment agency, in all of the things we did in HDSTP around the curriculums and all of those things. You could see it. People would take the smallest little flame and make it into the biggest fire. And I will never be able to say more than I'm saying now, that this has been my greatest privilege to work with all of you, simply because you would run with anything that anybody asks of you. And I'm just amazed at that, and I always will be.
Is Ruben different today than 3 years ago?
I think everyone here would have to ask that, Frank. But for me, I can say no, I don't believe Ruben is different, because the very essence of Ruben was the people, and the people have been here for me from the first moment I
People are
arrived.
still people.
Yes. And the people are Ruben.
Have you got a worst experience that you've had in 3 years to share? The most embarrassing moment, the most awkward...
I've got a few of those, Frank. But I think the closest to reality was when Governor Sonko came, and he was walking up with me, his arm around me, and then we got caught up in a turmoil of people wanting cash and money, and they ripped a very precious watch off me. But it wasn't until Sunday, when I was at church, and I was able to think to myself, I have the privilege of knowing that was the first time anyone had bodily attacked me or lifted a hand to me. And I thought, wow, what a wonderful, amazing learning for me myself. Even though, it could have been a negative, to me it's been the most positive thing.
So finally, robbery lived up to its name.
It did, because there's been no other time that I can say that it's been anything but a very safe place.
Thank you, that's good to share. But Bev, who's been the most difficult person to work with?
Gee, Frank.
You're leaving, so all things are relevant and valid.
I don't think that I could say there has been anyone probably as different to work with as you yourself. But that's said in a very nice way.
Cut the camera, please.
Because you had a very dynamic vision of where Ruben would go and how Ruben would go. And for me, it was very difficult coming always in anything that I've worked in the past. I've always had this sort of team perspective, like nothing ever got done. As Frank would say, in Australia, if we want something done, we might wait a year from now, and yes, it was all going to be done and all done perfectly, but it takes a long time. So it was a bit difficult for me to sort of walk in and see, no, we will have this done today. today it will be done. And I thought, okay.
I
But
normally say yesterday.
oh, right, okay. Well, I must have missed that. But anyway, well, yeah, so that was different. But I can't say that it was anything that hasn't been a positive as well, because from every new working with somebody, there's a great new learning, and I've had lots of learning.
So you've indicated before that Ruben has changed, yet in essence is still the same, something. So you've contributed to that change, and has Ruben changed you?
Ruben's definitely changed me. Ruben, not only Ruben, but Kenya has changed me. I will leave a major part in my heart, will be a little bit torn. As my daughter said to me on Saturday when we were talking, "Are you really coming home, Mum? Or else are you just coming home for a little while?" And I don't know that answer yet, but has Ruben changed me? Yes, it has. I just want to share something, because I would like to say this, that to succeed in anything the way that you as Ruben have succeeded, you have to absolutely believe in it. And the essence that I'm taking away is exactly that you believe so much in what you do, that you work with it in such a way that then it becomes a reality. And Sunday, as the newest kid on the block, you will see that happen, that you are believing in the employment agency so much, it won't be long before it's a reality. And it was the same with the maternity. It's the same with the programs that have started in the school. Everything that I've seen that has started from a beginning in the HDSDP, the staff believe in it so much, and then it becomes a reality. Ruben FM, I was living with Tom when he was working so hard to bring that off the ground, and with all of the people around, but within the shortest possible time. It's a reality that is saying you are the best radio station in the whole of Kenya. That's what Ruben's about. I'm not just saying Ruben FM, I'm saying every one of you, whatever you do, if it's Puce and a new charter of accounts, you believe in it so much, and then you embody it.
I'll pick you up on the believing.
Yeah.
You've been in the transition team.
Yep.
Moving towards a new future,
Yep.
a new strategic plan,
Yep.
2021 to 2025,
Yes.
with Ruben, with a new director.
Yes.
Do you believe
I don't have any
Ruben
doubt.
will transition to something new and better?
I have been asked this question so many times, especially by our donors, and I say this in every ounce of sincerity. There is no doubt in my mind. The Kenyans that are here are the people who will take Ruben forward. And if donors don't see that, then donors are the stupid ones, not the people at Ruben. And I will say that from the day I started here. The donors don't know how lucky they are to have a project like this.
As you wind up, any regrets? Was the time 3 years not long enough? Is there anything?
I don't have any
Or
regrets.
the job's undone?
No, I don't believe the job's undone, because the people that are here will just make it go even further. As a person that's been in community development for a long, long time, I believe so strongly in knowing when it's time to go. And I know it's time to go because this team needs to take the next year while Frank is still here and build themselves, not build with other people there to maybe do it or think of it for them. This is your time to really blossom and show everybody in this world how good you are. And I believe that.
Sounds like 3 years, very productive, very fulfilling, rewarding. It's made a significant impact. Will you be back? Bev Watkinson.
I will. And Frank has invited me, as has Brother Tony, to come back to look at the strategic plan for Ruben in the next year, 2020, and I will be proud to do that.
Bev Watkinson, thank you for coming on Ruben Talk.
Thank you very much.